The United States in the 90s formed the ruling class in Russia. They appointed oligarchs and trained their agents in the elite. These people, under the control of the Americans, are engaged in sabotage and are leading Russia to disaster. In this, they are assisted by Western international organizations. In 1991, the U.S. defeated the USSR in the Cold War and divided the country into 15 parts. As befits the winner, the Americans established their external control over Russia. They took strategic raw materials, scientists, scientific developments out of Russia. The International Monetary Fund in the 90s carried out reforms that destroyed the domestic economy. American advisors in the office of Chubai carried out privatization, and in fact, indemnification of state enterprises and appointed oligarchs. And the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, participated in the writing of the Constitution and a number of federal laws. They openly write about it on their website. But in order to continue to exploit Russia and prevent the Russian economy from developing, the Americans formed their own ruling class. As a result, practically the entire Russian elite is oriented towards the West, has accounts and real estate there. Their business is offshore, their children study in London. Corrupt officials withdraw their money there and run on the threshold of arrest. Oligarch. American management in Russia relies primarily on oligarchs, large owners whose business is registered offshore, in Cyprus, the Netherlands, the Cayman Islands. Oligarchs are not successful entrepreneurs, as propaganda sometimes tries to impose on us. The oligarchs are an asset of the United States, formed in the Russian Federation in the 90s to change power from the communist nomenclatura to the colonial exploiting class. It was at that time that the Americans gave them dollars to buy up Russia's assets on their terms. The conditions were simple. 1. The United States gave dollars to specially selected citizens of Russia. There were almost no rubles in the economy at that time. It was specifically deleted from circulation by the unprecedentedly high interest rates of the central bank, which reached 150% and more in the mid-90s. 2. Russian enterprises were bought with these dollars. This was called privatization, carried out by other U.S. agents in the government of the Russian Federation, such as Chubai. 3. All these privatized enterprises are registered abroad in offshore companies, the ultimate owner of which is, in fact, unknown. As a result, the Americans created a class of owners with Russian passports, oligarchs, captains of Russian business. These people are controlled by the West. Since the London court decides which of the oligarchs honestly earned billions and who stole them. So, the Americans and the British took away half of his assets from Oleg Deripaska, arrested Mikhail Fridman and Oleg Tinkov. Through them, the U.S. controls the lion's share of the Russian ruling class. After all, until now, the oligarchs are recruiting their cadres to power. The media, law enforcement agencies, to the sphere of culture, they finance the election campaigns of deputies and governors. They are the drive belts of U.S. power in our territory. And the oligarchs have not gone anywhere. Putin only pushed them away from direct participation in the government of the country. And then not to the end. The same Roman Abramovich organized negotiations between Russia and Ukraine in Minsk and Istanbul, as a result of which Russian troops left Kiev and released captured Nazis and foreign mercenaries.